I love this song. You reminded me of it.
Do you remember when Kevin Nealon was doing the Weekend Update and they were talking about Colin Powell? He goes, Colin Powell, after the Iraq War, will go back to be the lead singer of the Fine Young Cannibals. I remember when I made this a parody about Racing Randy and his wife. She drives me crazy, buddy.
Oh,
remember?
God.
I made a parody. I got to find it.
Fine Young Cannibals. There you go.
Dave Barletta, who used to be known as Dan 315er,
Yeah.
kept better records of our show than we did. I have a thumbnail of all the old shows we did on CMF. I should just bring it in and let you because I don't have the time to break it down.
Yeah.
But there was so much stuff that we did.
We could do like
So many of these old bits.
Throwback Thursdays or whatever.
Classic Country Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, we did all, but we could do throwback where we go and play an old segment and talk about what was going on. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times I would let things just spill on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would let it carry over from my personal life or my work life. There was no breaks.
So I remember one show. It was over the summer, and it was a Friday. And your neighbor, who had moved away eventually, brought over a thumb jug of Jameson, you said, the night before.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys were just going to have a drink.
Yeah, Brian.
And a drink became a night of...
I think that I went for a run. And they were sitting out in their Adirondack chairs on the front lawn. Yeah. And he had a thumb jug of Jameson, which you can't buy anymore. You can't buy the thumb jug. It's very disappointing.
And so you came into work the next day. You're like, Daddy, I got nothing. And we end up having one of our best shows.
Yeah.
Because it was literally like off the cuff.
I think I was telling Danny, and it has nothing to do with anything, but
we was talking.
Well, we were talking, but I was talking about radio stuff. And I don't know. But we had an audio issue. I fat fingered something on the iPad, and some people couldn't hear certain segments.
I fat fingered my screen.
So I need maybe we'll play that montage again for people to hear it who are maybe aren't going to listen to the podcast tomorrow, but are watching now live on YouTube or Facebook. But because we do have a $100 Woodcliff gift card to give away if you identify all 4 movies in the montage.
Yeah. I would not have won it.
But I said to you that I would say that one radio show I did, I would always say was like the best I was ever part of. And I think I look back now after being with you and I go, well, maybe that show was phenomenal. Like all these shows. That show was phenomenal, but I felt so much pressure. And the reason I felt so much pressure was I knew that I was sitting. I knew a couple things. I was afraid I was going to lose my job, and I had kids.
Right.
And
you only had 2 kids at the time.
Yeah. And then the
third one came along later.
They had, and there was a legend who had sat in that chair.
Yeah.
You know, there was a legendary radio personality who's in the National Radio Hall of Fame, Brother Weeze, and I stayed at the station and he left and I was his producer. So, and they were talking all this talk upstairs. They would talk out loud. Like it was one of these things like you knew they wanted you to hear, like they were thinking of bringing Ted Nugent in or they were going to put the afternoon guy on. And so
because they would leak stuff.
I wasn't in their plans. And I felt so much pressure. And then we got some momentum going and a little reprieve. And then, when Weeze came back on, the things, he was a legend. People wanted to hear what he had to say. He'd been off the air for 8 months. Absolutely. I totally get it. But I'm trying to just eat and feed my family. You know what I'm saying? So, I took that stuff maybe the wrong way. Maybe I should have relaxed and taken my foot off the gas a little bit. So I think I worked. Oh, I know. I worked a lot. I mean, you want to talk about...
I mean, you had a laptop that was missing pixels and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, oh gosh.
But I mean, I would leave the radio station and I would go to the library because I didn't want to go home. So not that home was bad,
but you lose focus.
But you would lose focus. So I would write for 2 hours. I'd go home. I'd be with the kids. I'd go down to my office then and write. They'd go to bed. I'd stay up. Sometimes I was up till 11 and then back up at 3. And I did that for a long time. All that stuff is, I'm doing it no different now. I mean, it was almost like when my last thing at iHeart, I was doing a couple different stations, a couple different shows that were talk shows, intense prep. I tried to never make it look like I prep. I prep my ass off. I prep my ass off. You got to have something to say. I'm thinking all the time, thinking, which sometimes takes you out of the moment because you're thinking, oh, I still got this. I got to get, and you're not in the moment of just having a conversation, which isn't always good either. But when I think back, I go that I felt so much pressure there. So when I went to, and I was part of other shows, there wasn't the pressure. You weren't replacing somebody. You know, they had music. You were forging new ground. It didn't matter. Big deal. Fuck it.
Just have fun.
Yeah. And
just do your show.
Right. And I think that's like anything. But, you know, there are times where you feel pressure. You felt like you were going to lose your job. And whether or not that was the right way to feel, I don't know. Yeah. It is how I felt, and it's how I reacted. And so everything was a little more intense with me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I started out on the talk side.
Yeah.
And I worked with the Wham Morning News, which was Beth and Chet at the time.
Yeah.
And then immediately went to produce the Brad Davies show right after. Brad's in Houston, Texas now. And he doesn't do sports radio anymore. But there was this pressure, this constant, like, there's always this guy who was like the assistant of a boss who would always put ideas in your head that, hey, you're not good enough. You need to do this. You need to do more of this. What he really didn't want to do was his own job. So he'd push it off on me, and I believed that I had to do these things. And then he'd bring in this other young guy. Like, hey, you need to be more like this guy. You know, and all of a sudden, like, my head was about to explode. And finally, after it all, I get laid off. I'm like, wow, I put myself through all that.
Yeah.
And then I get to work with you at CMF, and then we could feel the pressure every day we walked in the door.
Right.
Because of the powers that be and everything else.
Well, I mean, they did. Look, I can't.
And I'm not blaming them.
I've gone back and hindsight, what do they say? It's 2020. I've said things about them on this podcast in the beginning, and I did all that. And I would say now, like, look, they didn't know what they were getting.
No.
They were buying a station that had a legendary, successful, market dominating morning show. That's what they were buying.
Yeah.
And that one person whose name was the show left. Well, now what? And you know, they've got people they need to answer to. Everybody's got somebody. So but you know, in the end, and I think all that stuff, when I left iHeart, I was doing their national, I mean, I was all day.
Yeah, you didn't stop.
No, because it was all day. It wasn't one show. It was multiple talk shows plus the national classic rock stuff. So when I started this, nothing's changed.
But like now it feels like even though you have more riding on this than anything, at the same time, it feels like the pressure's off.
Well, I don't have to.
And I don't feel like there's pressure either. I can just come in and be myself, which I was never able to do.
Yes.
Like I had a boss tell me once, I need you to be more Kirk Cameron or Tim Tebow. And Tommy goes, no, I want you to be you because it's funny when you laugh at all my dirty jokes and go be a good Christian boy.
Yes.
Because that's the reality of it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, they look, everybody's trying.
They read a lot from the book.
I know.
Instead of just being ourselves.
And
this is where we are ourselves.
Look, I'll tell you how you know you're successful or not successful. Is when somebody makes you coasters. And I know that sounds like really silly, but when somebody takes the time
to the coaster,
when somebody takes the time to make something and it has the words you've said on it, or they know that you're a fan of something, and they create that, then you've made a connection. That's a win. That's it.
Yes.
That's all.
Or when people
Move
are like,
on.
when like that one guy calls up and like references all these like one-liners from the show.
Yes, he did.
Has he called us in a while?
Oh yeah.
I thought he might have fallen over and died.
No.
Fallen over, not fallen over. But
no,
this has been a blast. And, you know, it's...
The podcast is fine. I mean, look, I know that I can tell you that I'm a thick-headed guy and I will never lose. And the only reason I'll never lose is because every time I don't win, I get up and try again. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. The only difference between winning and losing is that. It's just one more at-bat. It's one more rep. It's one more punch. It's one more round. It's one more. That's all it is. That is all it is. Nobody's any significantly better than somebody else at any one thing. You could go through, I could tell you, in the world of comedy, some of the truly most authentically funny people that would fucking kill. They're nowhere because they don't work. They don't have that. They don't have the drive. They don't have the work ethic. They're funny. They like to drink. They like to get high. I don't know. It's just a different thing.
Well, our old pal Tabby used to tell us stories.
Yes,
where like he was like his own worst PR person.
Yes,
where like he worked with Larry the Cable Guy before he was labeled. So while Larry the
Dan
Cable Guy
Whitney.
was in his part or in his hotel writing jokes.
Dan Whitney.
Tommy would be going out and looking
Drinking and
at
pussy.
drinking or like smoking cigars or looking at, hey, look, there's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go see Mount Rushmore today.
Yeah.
You know, and like he admitted it.
Yes.
You know, and that's a lot of that's you know.
It's all it is all I'm saying is like wherever you want to, whatever you want to do, when you want to focus. I'm not saying the best, anybody's better than anybody else. I just think that the reason that some people succeed is because they get up one more time.
That's right.
They get up one more time. And yeah, everybody fails, right? But you learn. And I think like, you know, the whole idea of you're going to fail and you got to learn from your failure. All right. But how about we say it like this? You might, but each time you're going to get a little stronger. It's like doing reps in a gym, right? Maybe you start out and you're bench pressing 95 pounds. And then you go up 5 pounds after a month. And then you go up another 10 pounds and 20. And the next thing you know, you're benching 225 pounds, right? Or whatever analogy you want to do. It's the same thing. Just keep going. Don't stop. It's consistency. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
And you'll make connections and stuff. So in terms of, yes, everybody has said to me at one point, nobody's known how to monetize a podcast and make money off of it.
Well, come spend money with us. We'll show you how.
I think my father said to me, "Yeah, when you bought all that equipment, I thought that's the dumbest idea." And yeah, but he didn't say it.
He thought it. He didn't say it.
No, of course, because he knew better. He knew,
right?
You know,
watch this, Dad.
Yeah, I wasn't even a watch this. No. It was never a watch. It was never a watch this. It's funny because somebody said something to me the other day that they heard something that was said basically behind my back, and they go, "What do you think of that?"
Was this recently?
Yeah, and I said, I don't care. And they said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I always wanted to own, and I feel like there was nowhere else for me to go in that world of radio if I wanted to stay in Rochester. And as silly as to some people it may sound, I like where I live. I like it. And I have a kid close by for the moment. He'll graduate from college, but he's here. And I like it. And I have friends here. And I have a life here. And I was never somebody who was chasing L.A. or New York. I just wasn't. I went to L.A. and auditioned, but and now, as I say, the barrier to entry is gone.
Right.
So, you know, would I like us to have more? Sure. Well, everybody wants more. Yeah. And the more's available. And maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But it's fine. And so for somebody to say something disparaging behind my back, it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter, because it's coming from a world that I'm not part of anymore. And I know, as silly as it is, I don't miss it. I don't long for it. I have it. I built it myself with the help of you and Kevin, and I don't care.
That's the way it should be.
Well, I think the person
subtle art of not giving a blank.
Well, it wasn't.
Since we're talking about blank,
I think it was because it was like you want to make them mad. Don't you want to show them? And I go, I don't want to show them. I want to show me. I want to show me that I can do it. I get satisfaction from doing it myself, and I don't need to prove it to anybody else. And that's what I'm talking about when Hawley's yelling at Zuckerberg. That's what you need to tell your kid. Your kid needs to do it for yourself, because it's going to satisfy you. You know, not going and getting drunk because you'd rather play baseball and try to hit that home run or break that record or run faster. That's what I'm talking about. Right. It's the satisfaction. You know,
if you do the hard stuff now, life will be easier. But if you do the easy stuff now, if you make your life easy, it's going to get harder later.
It could be. That's true.
There's elements to that. I'm not saying it's always the case.
I just think that consistency with stuff, and not all that is going to do is drag you. Start listening to what other people think of you is none of your business. The reason I say that is because it just drags you down. So what? You can get mad about what?
Right.
And by the way, do you know if that person actually really said this?
Yeah,
you don't.
That's another thing in our business that people.
And the
like
other
to twist.
thing is, on the other side, something may have been said, but it could be taken out of context, and someone could be adding context to it. And what does it do for you? Not a goddamn thing. When all you want to do is just eat. You just want to live. I'm not out. You're not out to hurt anybody. You're not out to steal from them. You know what? You just want to do a great job. That's it.
Like every Christmas, there's this one guy I see every Christmas. He likes to fish. He's like, hey, and he'll try to throw something at me and see my opinion is. And I'm like, yeah, doing a great job. Well, yeah, but don't you think? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not in that world anymore.
Well, I mean, if people ask me my opinion on something, I'm always going to give you an opinion, or I'll just say I don't know enough to give you an opinion. I'll do that. I go, I don't know enough. You know, I'm not familiar with that or whatever. Yeah. You know, I'll get asked things about people I've worked with, and I'll go, I don't know. You know.
One guy once asked me, he goes, hey, how much money is Muley really making? So I gave him this ridiculous number because I knew it. I went and told Tommy that time, Brian Wash, Brian.
All right. I asked you what value you put on an egg salad sandwich.
$4.99.
I say that because a guy working at a Target in Virginia, he worked at Target in Virginia.
Worked past tense. Okay.
He was worked there. He has been sentenced to 100 years in prison. And the reason is...
Don't tell me he
what?
He bodily functioned inside the sandwich.
No, he didn't bodily function inside. No, well, it's not a bad idea, though.
For a 100-year sentence.
Somebody at work was stealing his lunch out of the fridge. He wanted to go eat, and that's why I'm saying I don't know if it was an egg salad sandwich.
What was his first name?
His first name was Bazin.
So on the brown paper bag, he wrote Bazin on it. And somebody kept stealing Bazin's lunch.
Yes. A 70-year-old guy, 70-year-old janitor would come in and take Bazin's lunch out of the refrigerator. Bazin was so pissed off. He was so pissed off at this janitor that he decided to kill him.
Well, what country is Bazin from? Because in his culture, you know, stealing someone's lunch could be a personal effrontery to death.
You make a great defense attorney. I don't know that it would hold any water. He got very angry, and when he found out the guy was taking his lunch from the office refrigerator for several days earlier, and this was just eating at him. So he bought a hammer and 2 knives 2 days before the murder. And he told detectives that he spent the next day, quote, training for the murder.
Hey, you have another montage?
And then
we can play behind it.
No. And then he killed this guy for eating his lunch. How about that? 25 years. I mean, it's nuts. It's a fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
You could probably go to the refrigerated section of Target and buy something else. But he went into a fit of rage, waited out in the parking lot, and attacked the guy for eating his lunch. Now, I don't know if this story is being simplified, if this was an ongoing thing, if the 70-year-old was just getting a kick out of it. You know? Reminds me when I worked.
The 70-year-old, because like that name Bazin.
Yeah,
it sounds like a name of somebody who's not from America. I could be wrong.
I don't know where Bazin may not be from America.
So I wonder if like this 70-year-old old guy may have like, you know, I'll show that foreigner who's boss. Yeah. You know, but I mean, is it worth dying over? Is it worth?
Well, he was found guilty of first-degree murder after he planned and carried out the murder of his coworker, who was 58. But where's the 70-year-old? They're saying 70. According to the prosecutors, he grew angry when he found out that the guy who was a janitor at Target had taken his lunch.
Maybe it was a heck of a sandwich.
Yeah,
Bazin, what you putting in this?
Maybe he's 58.
Did you add horseradish? This is good.
He's 58. God.
How do you keep the bread from getting so wet?
Stop stealing your coworker's lunch. That's all I will say. Stop stealing your coworker's lunch. I'm going to play the Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, where you can relax and get away from it all. You don't have to worry about anybody taking your lunch.
No.
This will be delicious.
They have their own food there. You buy it.
Tell us the 4 movies. The 4 rom-coms in this montage.
I have to draw you.
No. Absolutely not. I'm a lot more shy than people think. I give off the wrong impression.
I have to. I haven't sketched anything in weeks.
Stop staring. Do a vase.
But you're beautiful, Carol. Your skin, your long neck, the back, the line of you. You're why cavemen chiseled on walls.
All right, there's movie one.
Justin, I can't dance anymore.
Dancing's just a conversation between two people. Talk to me.
So what?
So
Right,
it's not going to
movie
be
two.
easy. It's going to be
This is
really
movie
hard.
3.
And we're going to have to work at this every day, but I want to do that because I want you. I want all of you forever. You and me, every day. Will you do something for me? Please? You just picture your life for me? 30 years from now, 40 years from now? What's it look like? If it's with that guy, go. Go! I lost you once. I think I could do it again. If I thought it's what you really wanted. But don't you take the easy way out.
What easy way?
Okay, get in,
Movie 4.
take a breath, and then when the door closes, hit a button.
I don't understand this.
You don't have to understand, you just have to have faith.
Faith in what?
Destiny. Hey. It's Sarah. My name's Sarah.
585-206-8866 is the number to text.
I don't think any of them are Ghostbusters.
Let's see. Somebody might have texted the wrong person. Let me see here. Hang on. Lots of texts coming in to 585-206. No audio on no audio on Facebook. They texted in. We did have a momentary lapse of reason here. And then they go, "Hey, did the vanilla ever come?" Sorry, Bill, wrong person. Yeah, plum crazy. Brenda texting in. No, those are not the answers. Nobody's got it so far.
Okay.
So it's still up for grabs. $100 gift card.
You got
to
unlimited
the
chances,
Woodcliff
too.
Hotel and Spa that you can use at the spa, that you can use at the Fantastic Restaurant or towards an overnight stay. Really, really great romance packages.
My wife and I had our wedding
Valentine's
there.
Day.
We had our wedding there. It was fantastic.
It's great. So if you would like that, and we have a multiple cards to give away, just tell us all 4 movies. We need to know all 4 movies. 585-206.
You literally don't have to leave the resort for like 3 days. They have everything you need.
Yeah.
At this place.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yep, they do. It is pretty damn good. All right, Danny, should we wrap it up?
Sure. You got any other thoughts?
I got lots of thoughts, man.
I spent like 5 minutes talking to myself about the Bills today. Man, I really miss them.
Wait a second. Hold on. You talked to yourself about the Bills for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
What
I read a tweet from somebody.
Yeah.
So there's these guys out of Buffalo. They're called Rockpile Report, one of those many Bills podcasts.
Okay.
And they've actually like done a really nice job. And their producer boiled a 2-hour podcast down to 1 minute, and it's hilarious. But they nail all they didn't just talk about the podcast. They kind of talked about one of the hosts' teeth and stuff like that. It was kind of funny. But the point is that the direction the Buffalo Bills are taking right now, there's a consensus in the community, and that is it's not good. It's not good. Anybody who's looking at this team with objective eyes, unless they're a fanboy, knows that this team is not heading in the right direction.
Well, you know what? I hope they take it and shove it right up your ass.
I hope they do too, Billy.
I hope they do.
I hope they do too.
I hope they take the goalpost and go right up your key.
Because another year from now, they're gonna like either Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson are gonna be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
I know you're saying that. Yes, you said that last night. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I want it to happen. I want Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills to win in 2024.
Dan Quinn is now the head coach of the Commanders?
Of Washington, yeah. Mike Vrabel didn't get a job.
No.
Did you hear about why?
Well, no.
Well, he and Belichick, he played for Belichick.
Yeah.
Okay. They're very similar, very militaristic in their style. And according to Albert Breer of SI, he told Rich Eisen, he said, Amy Adams, the owner, now she inherited the Tennessee Titans. Imagine being a billionaire and then inheriting this big toy. It's called the NFL franchise. She hated going to work every day because of this dude.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft hated going to work every day because of Bill Belichick. And now the two of them aren't coaching next year. In other words...
Yeah, but who's going to take over Seattle?
The kid, the defensive coordinator from the Ravens.
Oh, they hired him?
They hired him.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I think McDonald, I think is his last name.
All right. Well,
but the point is that, like, Vrabel's a heck of a coach.
Yeah.
You know, and Belichick is Belichick.
Yeah.
But both these guys are unemployed for a year. Now, they'll probably get a job a year from now, unless Belichick croaks or something. Like, he's never been without football in his life. Who knows?
Kansas City. Watch
Well,
Kansas
after the
City.
Super Bowl, perhaps
Watch
if Andy
Kansas
wins
City.
another one. But
Yeah.
man, I mean, that's something. That's an indictment that you can't adjust to the times.
Well, that's yeah.
Got to adapt.
Just to the times. That's what we got to do. For Dan Barillo, I'm Bill Moran. We'll see you Monday.
I woke up in the hotel, didn't know what to do. I turned the TV on, wrote a letter to you. The news was talking about